أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحابه ومن اهتدى بهداه إلى يوم الدين فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهادي هدي محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي لا تؤاخذني مما يقولون واغفر لي ما لا يعلمون واجعلني خيرا مما يظنون أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome one more time to the House of Dua, the channel from which you learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about His creation, about His message, about His messenger, and of course the channel from which you learn about the chosen religion of Allah known as Al-Islam, and the channel from which you learn how to succeed and be happy in the world we live today, and of course, how to succeed and be happier when you meet Allah on the day of accountability. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, today we are coming with a very exciting issue that has bothered many of us for a very long time. And that is the question of why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveal the Qur'an in Arabic language? ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This is a book without doubt. It's a guidance to those who are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But many people have been bothered by this question. The question of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of the billions of languages on the planet, decided to reveal this book in Arabic language. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, first of all, let us distinguish that the daily Arabic language that people use in day-to-day communication is not the same thing as the Arabic language of the Quran. That of the Quran is deeper, stronger, and more purposeful and meaningful. This is a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just as many of us who live outside Arabia learn to read and understand it, that is how those who live in Mecca and the surrounding neighborhoods of Mecca, including Medina, that is how they also study the Quran in order to understand it. So it's the book for the entire mankind. It's not limited to Arabia alone. But suffice it to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it clear that He has revealed this book in Arabic language. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, there are many of us, billions of people all over the world, who are unable to read this Quran because they cannot speak Arabic language. If they were in a position to speak the day-to-day Arabic language, that will lead them closer to being able to understand the Quran. But unfortunately, billions of people across the world who are Muslims cannot speak Arabic language and are not able to understand and read the Quran. This is a very serious handicap for us as Muslims. This is the area where I personally believe that our leaders in Islam have failed. The same way the non-Muslims have been able to sell the message of the Bible and the Torah to mankind through the medium of English language and have made it attractive to people through remunerations and other strategies, we as Muslims have not been able to motivate our people to read the Quran, or at least to study the Arabic language. Therefore, even though Islam is growing in phenomenal proportion in the world, it is still predominated by those who are ignorant about their religion. I'm sorry to say that. Many people are, in fact, illiterate when it comes to the Quran and the use of the Quran in the worship as well as in communicating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why we have decided to raise this issue. at least to remind our leaders that we all owe it a duty to make the reading of the Quran facilitated for the majority of Muslims on the planet. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, why did Allah choose to reveal the Quran in Arabic language? Why did He not reveal the Quran in English, in German, in French, in Latin? Why did He not reveal the Quran in Mandarin, in Hindu? Why did He not reveal the Quran in Hausa, in Swahili, in Yoruba language? Why did He not reveal the Quran in Edo language? And why did He not reveal the Quran in the language of Jagwe people? This is a valid question, my dear brothers, my dear sisters. There are billions of languages across the world, and yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose to send the final testament He sent to mankind through an Arab, and therefore decided to send it in Arabic language. This is a question that is worthy of being pondered about by all of us, my dear brothers, my dear sisters. The significance of Arabic language in the religion of Islam cannot be overemphasized. If we don't facilitate the learning of that language, we are indirectly killing the spread of Islam, unfortunately. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, again, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose to reveal the Quran in Arabic language? This is a question that has been bothering many people. And so some people get unattracted or even stay away from Islam because they are not able to read the Arabic language. Many of them claim that, the average Christian is able to read English, even though he does not understand the entire passages of the Bible. At least they can read and understand. In the same manner, the Muslim is not able to read the verses of the Quran and have at least a literary meaning of what he's reading. We need to do better in this field. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent many prophets and messengers to mankind before the coming of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. And He made it clear that He has never sent a prophet or any messenger to His people except by the language of His people, so that they will be able to deliver the message fairly and easily and in a manner that the people will understand. That's why Ibrahim alayhi salam was sent in Aramaic language. That's why Prophet Nuh was sent in Aramaic language. That's why Prophet Musa was sent in Hebrew language, because he was a Jew. And that's why Prophet Isa, Jesus Christ alayhi salam, was sent in Hebrew language, because he too was a Jew. But Muhammad was an Arab. Therefore, he was sent in Arabic language to convey the final message of Allah to mankind. Interesting. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, it is not you alone who is a non-Arab that question why Allah sent this message in Arabic language. Even among the Arabs themselves, they were wondering why this message should come from Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, even though he was one of them. They questioned the validity of the message based on the fact that Muhammad was a person of low-level importance in the society. He was an orphan, and his upbringing was problematic for him. Therefore, they didn't believe that a person of that caliber could bring a message that would change the entire mankind. So they continue to ask the question, وَقَالُوا لَوْلَا نُزِلَ هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ عَلَى رَجُلٍ مِنَ الْقَرْيَتَيْنِ عَظِيمٍ أَهُمْ يَقْسِمُونَ رَحْمَةَ رَبِّكَ نحن قسمنا بينهم معيشتهم في الحياة الدنيا ورفعنا بعضهم فوق بعض درجات ليتخذ بعضهم بعضا سخريا ورحمة ربك خير مما يجمعون. They ask, why was the Quran not revealed among the nobilities of the big cities of Makkah and Taif? Why a low-level person like Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded immediately Ahum yaksimuna rahmat Arabic. Are they the one that share the favor of Allah? Nahanu kasom na benohuma ishatahum fini hayati dunya. We are the one who share their livelihood for them in this dunya. Warafana badohum fauka bad in darajat. And we elevate some more than others. We provide some people more than we provide others. Why? So that some of them will become employers, others will become employees. The favor of Allah is better. The favor Allah grants is better than the struggles you are making in your acquisition of materialism of this world. That's how they were ridiculing the coming of the message through Muhammad. And when the message came to the Arabs, they were the first to accuse the Prophet of bringing something that was strange. Some of the people in Mecca, in collusion with the Jews of Medina and the Mushrikun of Mecca, they accused the Prophet of having been taught this language by a man known as Bahira, a monk he met on the way when he traveled to Syria at the time. But this claim was rejected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ نَعْلَمُ أَنَّهُ يَقُولُونَ إِنَّمَا يُعَلِّمُهُ بَشَرٌ لِسَانُ الَّذِي يُلْحِدُونَ إِلَيْهِ أَعْجَمِيٌّ وَهَذَا لِسَانٌ عَرَبِيٌّ مُبِينٌ. Allah says, we are aware, Ya Muhammad, that they are telling you, when the message came to them, that this message was taught to you by a human being. And that, how come that you as an Arab, you are coming with a message that is foreign to them, when in fact what you have brought to them is in Arabic language spoken by them. In Surah Fusilat, which is chapter 41 of the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declares, وَلَوْ جَعَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا عَجَمِيًّا لَقَالُوا لَوْلَا فُصِلَتْ آيَاتُهُ أَعْجَمِيٌّ وَعَرَبِيٌّ. If we had revealed this Quran in another language other than the Arabic language, the Arabs would have still asked the question, why is the message not detailed in Arabic language? This is a message in a foreign language. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that's not the case. This is a message in Arabic language brought by an Arab. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, there are some Arab scholars who want us to believe that the Quran was revealed in Arabic language because it is the chosen language of Allah for this dunya and akhirah, and it is the language of Jannah. We have no evidence to support that this language is of special preference by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why he sent the Quran in it. No, he sent the Quran because the bearer of the message was an Arab. If the bearer of the message was a Nigerian or a British or an American or a Jagbe person, then of course the Quran would have come in the language of that person. So people will also want us to believe that the Quran was revealed in Arabic language because the Arabic language is richer and deeper in meaning than any other language in the world. Without doubt, the Arabic language is deep in meaning and rich in concepts, but we are not in a position to judge whether it is the richest language in the world. What is important to us is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has communicated his commandment to mankind in Arabic language, and it's important for us to accept it that way and to strive to read it. These are the resistance that have been going on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear that this book, it's a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was not taught to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam by anybody else. Nor was the Prophet able to read in his time for him to be able to come up with a writing like this. Throughout his life, he didn't write. He was unlettered. But this was a revelation that transformed him into the most knowledgeable human being that Allah has ever created. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. Won't they ponder about the Quran? If the Quran were from anyone other than Allah, they would have found some inconsistencies in it. So this Quran is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he sent it through Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, an Arab man, so that he will be able to deliver it to mankind. But that does not give the Arab a special status above any other person in our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you know that before the coming of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, the most dominant practice or profession that those who call themselves celebrities of the time were practicing was poetry. And so when the Prophet came with the message and the verses sounded poetic and idiomatic, they quickly concluded that this was poetry. They concluded that it was poetry. But what they didn't know was that just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Prophet Musa alayhi salam with mu'jiza, with miracle that sounded like magic to Pharaoh, Lanatullahi alayhi, and his people who were dominantly practicing magic. Allah wanted a higher level of power to match that low level of power. So he sent Musa with mu'jiza. And when they got there, they thought it was magic. And they claimed it was magic. But they found out that they were deceiving themselves. The same thing, the Arab thought that the Quran brought by the Prophet was poetry. So they rejected it because it sounded like what they were doing. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded immediately. وَمَا هُوَ بِقَوْلٍ شَاعِرٍ قَلِيلًا مَا تُؤْمِنُونَ وَلَا بِقَوْلٍ كَاهِنٍ قَلِيلًا مَا تَذَكَّرُونَ. That's from Surah Al-Hakam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this is not poetry, neither is it the statement of a soothsayer. No, this is the Quran. And in Surah At-Takwir, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا هُوَ بِقَوْلِ شَيْطَانٍ رَجِيمٍ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا ذِكْرٌ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. This is not a statement of the devil. This is a reminder to the entire mankind. In Surah Nun, also known as Surah Al-Kalam, Allah says, Nun wal-kalami wa ma yasturun ma anta bi ni'mati rabbika bi majnun. They were accusing the Prophet of being a crazy man, bringing madness to them. Allah said, no. By the letter Nun and by the pen and what the pen writes, this is not a statement of a madman. Ya Muhammad, you are not crazy as they are alleging. This is a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, the question of why did Allah reveal the Quran in Arabic language did not start today. It did not start today. To ask that question, you can as well ask the question, why did Allah send Adam alayhi salam from the high heaven to the planet? Why did Allah cause the sun to rise from the east and decline to the west, and causes the moon to rise from the west and go to the east? Why did Allah not make a dead person rise back to life and tell us what is happening in the Akhirah? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not make today the day of accountability? The fact is that whatever is done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not questionable. He is Al-Alim and Hakim. He's all-knowing and all-wise. Whatever he does is final. It's unquestionable. His decision to reveal the Quran in Arabic language, therefore, is perfect and unquestionable. If we go to Surah Ibrahim, which is chapter 14 of the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear why he revealed the Quran in Arabic language. He declared, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُمْ فَيُضِلُّ اللَّهُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. We have never sent any messenger before you, Ya Muhammad, except in the language of their people, so that they will be able to make the message they are sent with clear to their people. And in return, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide those whom he wants to guide and allow those who want to go astray to go astray. For Allah is the Almighty and the All-Wise. In Surah Maryam, which is chapter 19 of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear to us. فَإِنَّمَا يَسَرْنَاهُ بِلِسَانِكَ لِتُبَشِّرَ بِهِ الْمُتَّقِينَ وَلِتُنذِرَ بِهِ قَوْمًا لُدًّا. We have sent it to you in your native language in order to simplify it for you, Ya Muhammad, so that you can communicate it to those who fear Allah, deliver good news to them that Allah has prepared Jannah for them. and to warn those who are disbelieving right now and who are resistant to the message that Allah will punish them if they don't turn their way. That's the simple reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this message in Arabic language. It doesn't mean, as many people claim, that the Arabs are closer to Allah. They are closer to Jannah. The fact that Kaaba is in Makkah doesn't mean that the people of Makkah are closer to Allah and they will be the first to enter Jannah. As a matter of fact, you might find out, Auzubillah, that people there may be first to enter Naru Jahannam if they don't follow the message. That is the truth of the matter. Inna akramakum inda Allah atqakum. The most beloved to Allah among you is the one who has the fear of Allah. It doesn't matter whether you are 10,000 kilometers away from Makkah. As long as you accept the message, you are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran in Arabic language, so He has made our worship of Him dominant in Arabic language. But it does not mean that if you cannot read the Quran or read the Hadith, you cannot worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As a matter of fact, it has been made so simple that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only makes it compulsory for us to recite Surah Al-Fatiha in our worship. Compulsorily. Any other thing you can do in your language, but if you can recite the Quran, it is preferable and much more acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you recite the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want to make it a body upon ourselves. That's why it says, when you are doing your salat, Surah Al-Fatiha is obligatory. Any other verse or more verses of the Quran are also required. But if you are not able to recite any other verse or verses of the Quran, that does not mean your salat is not complete. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, which means therefore that other recitations we do in salah, such as dhikr, such as dua that we make, such as other things that we do in worship, we can do them in the language that is best facilitated for us. Your native language is acceptable, whether it is English or not. And now the Quran has been translated into several languages so that it can be meaningful to many of us. Therefore, it's our duty, an extra step we are expected to take as Muslims, to try to study, learn, and follow the Quran and apply it in our day-to-day worship. But that you are deficient in the Quran, and Allah knows that you are deficient in the Quran, that's not an obstacle for your worship to be accepted. Therefore, don't beat yourself around that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not reveal the Quran in your native language. You can use your native language to supplicate to Allah. You can use your native language to glorify Allah. You can use your native language to magnify the name of Allah. You can use your native language to tell Allah your problems. And definitely, He will respond. You know why? He is all hearing and all seeing. He hears all of us at the same time as His creatures, and He sees all of us at the same time as His creatures, and He responds to our needs at the same time as His creatures. He's overseeing the heaven and the earth put together, and whatever they contain does not make Him get tired. He's the Most High and the greatest. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, yes, it is a genuine question for us to ask, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose to reveal the Quran in Arabic language? Our duty as believers is to obey. وَمَا كَانَ لِلْمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا مُبِينًا. It is not fitting for a believer, man or woman, to question what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done and His messenger, to have his own independent opinion outside what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded and exemplified by the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. To differ is to take yourself far away from the straight path. May Allah save us from that. The Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, one of the final statements he made before he left this world in the city of Makkah in his final Hajj was La farad al-Arabiyya al-Ajamiyya. Wala al-Ajamiyya al-Arabiyya. Wala fadla al-Abiyada al-Aswad illa bi-taqwa. The Arab is not superior to the non-Arab, nor the non-Arab superior to the Arab. The white is not superior to the black. Neither is the black superior to the white. The determination of your closeness and your superiority before Allah is by the fear of Allah. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, all of us have access to the Quran. It's important that we make effort to read it. Just as you struggle to read it, that's how the people in Makkah also struggle to read it. This is not a day-to-day Arabic language. This is a special Arabic language which belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's our duty to read it. And it's the duty of those who call themselves our leaders to facilitate it, to make it easy for those of us who want to read it, instead of making it difficult for us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us build Islam and use Islam to build us for Akhir. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take shaitan away from our lives, to take our life far away from the shaitan. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Alhamdulillah.